Welcome to my May DNF list. So there were only 3 books on the did not finish list, only because I forgot to push stop on a lot of books that I meant to DNF, but I got busy running errands or doing dishes or vacuuming, or I don't know what happened, but they were audiobooks and they were short, and all of a sudden before I knew it, the book was over. So those were in my what I read list for May that I did mark some of those kind of low, but these are the ones that I did make time to push the stop button, and I knew for sure I did not want to finish those. Also, I found a way to mark my DNFs in Goodreads. So I marked them for like the last decade that I read them, and I only started using Goodreads like this year, really. So it's that way I know like what I read, because sometimes I accidentally reread books that I definitely DNF'd, but I can't remember that I DNF them. I don't know. I'm using Goodreads now as like my database of what I have and haven't read. So yeah. So that's how I am marking my DNFs, so I don't accidentally reread books I really am not interested in. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, author of the Frost and Misfortunes Cozy Mystery Series starring my own little kitty cat, Lucky. This channel, we talk all about mysteries, whether those are books, TV shows, or movies. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I post new videos every Tuesday. So make sure to friend me on Goodreads, and then I can see what you're reading, you can see what I'm reading in real time, and I always love getting new book recommendations. So I pretty much read cozies, thrillers, romance, nonfiction, and like interesting nonfiction. I'm not really into biographies or memoirs or self-help. So those are pretty much all the books that I read. I do read some sci-fi, but I'm kind of lazy about it lately. Like I seem just more interested in all of those other genres. But let's go through my list. So there's only 3 of them. The first one is Aunty Lee's Delights by Ovidia Yu. This is the first in the Singaporean mysteries. And I was really excited because 1, it's Asian, so I really wanted to like it. But I think the problem was Ovidia is a playwright, and that is her background. And this read like a play. Like they were all stuck in one room for pretty much the whole book that I read, like the first 10 chapters. And there's all these random characters with random agendas not really talking to each other. And they're trying to figure out a murder that happens that they see on TV. No one actually sees the body. So it wasn't like a regular cozy. It was really just a play put into book format. At least that's how I felt. Basically, Aunty Lee is this woman who's rich, and she decides to use her money to open up a restaurant, and she has her niece and nephew there with her, and there's all these different POVs. So the POV kept changing all the time, just like in a play. And the woman who's the niece is really concerned with rising up the social ladder and looking important. The nephew's kind of like this clueless husband, and then the aunt doesn't really say a lot, even though it's supposed to be her mystery. And then you have this random American couple that's a tourist that comes to eat at the restaurant, and then you have another random woman. So they're trying to figure out the murder, even though they don't know who was murdered. They just know a body washed up on shore in Singapore. And so this random woman comes into the Singapore, I guess, restaurant. I don't even know if they said what the name of the restaurant is, but she is there because she thinks she knows who the woman is that's killed, but it's not really obvious why she's at the restaurant. So it was just like a play where everyone comes into this one room, which I wasn't really into that. Like, I like when cozies run around, you get to see some of the town, and yeah, so that was definitely a DNF for me. The next book was How to Knit a Murder by Sally Goldenbaum. So this is number 13 in the Seaside Knitters Mysteries. Now, our Seaside Knitters Society Mysteries. And to be fair, I haven't read books 1 through 12. It just happened to come up as available on Scribd, and it just looked cute. It has this super adorable cover with these cute little kittens on it, right? And some yarn, which I don't know if you guys know this. I love crocheting and knitting. So I felt like this book was a sign, right? That it came up in the queue on audiobooks or on Scribd as an audiobook. So anyways, I started listening to it. And the reason I stopped it in probably like the 3rd chapter is I read 10 chapters. There was no murder for the first 10 chapters. And it was just meandering about this woman who has this awful life where her husband is like this total jerk, doesn't listen to her. And then she doesn't say anything for herself. She doesn't speak up. And her mother happened to die, I think the year before, very recently it sounded like. And her mom and her had always talked about living next to the seaside. And so she packs up a bag and she goes to live at the seaside by herself. I don't even know what happened to her husband. And and she like knows nobody. She has no friends, but I think her sister's in town. It was very confusing. And so maybe that's because I listened to the audiobook version, but for sure, wasn't feeling like, I didn't really like the character. I wasn't really sure why she was there, what she was doing, and there was no murder. So I just stopped reading that book. The third book I'm really sad about because I really wanted to like this. This was The Strange Disappearance of a Bollywood Star by Vaseem Khan. Now, I read the first book in this series, which is The Ganesh Investigation Agency, and it was so good because I think I really like Indian mysteries, but maybe I only like the Indian mysteries written by Tarquin Hall because the first one was really cute, and then this third one, I skipped ahead to the third because that's what became available in like my library queue instead of book number 2. And it was just kind of boring and blah, and the wife wasn't really doing anything fun. The investigation was kind of boring, like nothing spectacular, and yeah, it was just kind of like, and I think I read pretty much all the way up until like almost the last 2 chapters, and so that was another DMF. So I probably won't even finish this series or read any more in it. So those were my 3 books. I know this was short. Usually all of my book reviews and recaps are like 30 minutes long. So this was just a really quick one. All right. Remember, if we are not friends on Goodreads, why not? Make sure to friend me below. And I hope everyone's having a fabulous day. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.